Donald Trump has violated the Constitution. That phrase shouldn't surprise anyone, because Donald Trump has done it on a daily basis since the first minute he walked down the escalator in 2016. He has violated the Constitution on multiple occasions since he was elected in 2016, the 4 years of his first administration, when he lost the election in 2020, after he left office, and now when he regained power to the present day. So none of us should be surprised when we hear that phrase, Donald Trump has violated the Constitution. Because in all actuality, that's Donald Trump's bread and butter when it comes to being president. Violate the rules, and I can get away with it, because my followers won't question me on it. And one of those rules is in the Constitution is the First Amendment. Well, it's the entire Constitution, but let's focus on the First Amendment. Namely, freedom of speech. Namely, anyone who criticizes him, particularly anyone who makes jokes about him. He's already tried to get people fired from their jobs, whether it be reporters, celebrities, online personalities. In this case, what I'm about to talk about now, comedians. And that's why I come here. I'm going to read you an article from John Pavlovitz, Patriotic Americans, Actual Christians, and Decent Humans Stand with Jimmy Kimmel. Boy, being in the cult really rots your brain. Watching the right assembling online with virtual torches and pitchforks, engaging in a wild, historic, and performative pearl clutching while calling for the head of a television host, Jimmy Kimmel, one has to marvel at his rank-and-file steadfast ability to defy reality. It's staggering when you compare the man that they're crusading against the one they're emotionally tethered to. Jimmy Kimmel isn't responsible for the deaths of countless people. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel isn't a court-adjudicated rapist. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel isn't a 34-count felon. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel did not incite a violent insurrection at our nation's capital in an effort to overturn a free and fair election, harm members of Congress, and prevent the peaceful transfer of power. By that I mean January 6, 2021. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel's name isn't listed tens of thousands of times in the Epstein files. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel doesn't have dozens of credible sexual assault accusations. Donald Trump does. Jimmy Kimmel didn't threaten an entire civilization with destruction. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel did not bomb a girls' school in Iran. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't partnered in multiple genocides. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel isn't fighting to deport the children of migrants. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel isn't trying to legislate draconian evangelical religion. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't caused pregnant women to die in emergency rooms because their doctors couldn't save their lives. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel isn't partnering with the NRA and gun makers while doing nothing to protect high school children from being butchered in their hallways. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel isn't causing transgender people to move out of the country for their safety. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel never stood before the nation and said that immigrants were eating people's pets. Donald Trump did.
Field, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Jimmy Kimmel hasn't called for the execution of American presidents and opposing politicians. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't put $500 million from stolen oil reserves into our offshore bank accounts. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel has never compared himself to Jesus Christ. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel isn't dismantling our Department of Education. Donald Trump is. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't alienated our nation's greatest allies. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't gone to war against the free press of our country and abroad. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel didn't send an army of masked thugs to terrorize people of color in their churches, businesses, streets, and homes. Donald Trump has. Jimmy Kimmel didn't cancel U.S. aid, already killing thousands of the most vulnerable on this planet. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel didn't embolden racists to verbally and physically assault people of color on trains, coffee shops, and in their own yards. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't partnered with tech bros and oligarchs to create the media and gain access to America's personal data. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't consolidated with our nation's wealth into the hands among the wealthiest among us. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel hasn't spent the last decade tearing apart every principle, system, and institution designed to make this country safer, to care for the most vulnerable, and to protect every human being's inalienable rights. Donald Trump did. Jimmy Kimmel will not be remembered among one of the most violent, destructive human beings in our planet's history. Donald Trump will. So in the mindless MAGA zombie horde that can emerge from our insane outrage and call for the head of Jimmy Kimmel as if he were some terrible scourge on this nation, while carrying water for a vile, treasonous, career criminal and serial predator who has complete contempt for them, the United States, and honestly, everyone but himself. The rest of us, the people with a capacity for critical thinking and working empathy, the Christians who care about the teachings of Christ, and those who truly love this land. It's desperate people and know exactly who the true danger here is. We stand with Jimmy Kimmel. Thank you, John Pavlovitz. And I stand by anyone who does the smallest thing by speaking out against Donald Trump and his family and his government. And I stand against Donald Trump for doing everything he can to try and disable everything our country is supposed to be about. I make no apologies for saying this. Donald Trump will fail in destroying our country. Why? Not only because of the midterms, because we're ready to fight against the nightmare he's bringing to our nation. CTP know the truth. God bless. Peace to left, justice to right.